Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Vision Root video blog from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Richard Urban. I'd like to start with a reading from Reverend Sun Myung Moon. Tonight's topic is, whose spiritual covering are you under? And here is our reading. When you leaders arrive in the spirit world, what will be reckoned as the most serious sins you committed on earth? The first is misusing public funds. The second, not doing your very best for your public mission. The third, violating the principle. These are the three major sins. 1978. You ministers, be careful. Using the church for your selfish purpose is the same as using God. Therefore, when guests visit your church or when you are out evangelizing, you should never occupy your mind with the question, would this person donate a lot of money? 1970. This is from World Scripture 2, page 1046. So again, our topic this evening is, whose spiritual covering are you under? Well, in our last video blog, we covered about Mr. Man-Ho Kim and how he is and his wife are secretly members of Mrs. Che's / Amrine's group. And then it was rumored that Mr. Kim has been dismissed from his position. However, I've not seen or heard anyone confirm that with any official announcement from the Family Federation, so I actually don't know about that. But it's quite clear that, according to what we reported last time, that Mr. Kim has been a member of this group, and that also members of the group have reported that the Che group, has asked members or former members to have sex with other people who are not their husbands. The Yanomoto blog reported that Mr. Kim had a mistress, i.e. a sexual relationship with Mrs. Ju-Yun Che. And a former member also reported the same thing, that he had a sexual relationship. So if he's been dismissed, well, that's a good thing. But I think we should ask a lot more questions. How did this happen? Who else is involved? How does this affect the movement? In fact, it's interesting that Mr. Man-Ho Kim himself wrote in a recent speech, he quoted from the Korean thinker Yak Young Jung, "It is a serious crime for a wise man to cover up mistakes." Then Mr. Kim went on, "We often say that incompetent people surround us, but it is not that we do not have competent people. The problem is that we fail to identify competent people and to then nurture and enhance their overall competency. Circumstances do not determine the future. It can change depending on the decisions of one leader." Well, ironically, that is certainly very much true. Unfortunately, there's a lack of transparency with the Family Federation. Even in this instance, clearly from Mr. Kim's own words, there should be some admission that there's some problem. But yet, we don't know. Was he dismissed? Supposedly. I don't know. There's no official announcement. If someone could confirm that, that's great. Again, this indicates a lack of transparency. So are we able to think honestly and sincerely that everything that True Mother, Mrs. Hak Ja-han Moon, does is okay when she's surrounded by these corrupt leaders? So even, it's interesting, recently in New York, there was a strong emphasis on Yojanim. That's the son of Reverend Mrs. Moon that, has died, has ascended. Well, that's okay to recognize his son, but it was thought by many to be an excessive emphasis. And it's interesting to note that it said that Mrs. Che's group believes that the lineage of Yojanim and that first son is very important. Did this influence True Mother? Well, I don't know, but it's a concern. So effectively, True Mother is trusting these advisors, and this advisor, Mr. Man-Ho Kim, is corrupt, or former advisor. Again, we don't know. If someone can, from the Family Federation, could clarify that, I sure would like to know myself. So corruption has caused substantial damage to the Family Federation organization. So who and what else is corrupt? How do we know? There's no transparency. So effectively, Satan has stolen the Family Federation movement. So by agreeing with these corrupt leaders, True Mother has spiritually fallen. She's lost her position by agreeing with the corrupt leaders. So this corruption, for instance, with the situation with Mr. Man-Ho Kim, calls into question the recent actions that True Mother has taken over the last 2.5 years since Reverend Sun Myung Moon died in 2012, such as changing the Holy Scriptures, such as changing the blessing ceremony. So have these actions been centered upon God? Have they been centered upon Christ? Have they been centered upon True Father? Since they have not been, they're corrupted by Satan. So then thus enters the need that we need to return to God-centeredness. And I think if we're honest, we have to recognize that there are serious issues. Some people have said in different forums, oh, no big deal, just focus on your own responsibility. Really, no big deal when the top leader is corrupt and a member of a group with dubious practices and known to ask members of the group to have extramarital sexual relationships. And reportedly, this applies on good sources to Mr. Kim. That doesn't matter. Hello, anybody home? Of course it matters. So we need to come under God's blessing again. And this, in my opinion, is why Hyungjin Moon and the World Peace Campaign Sanctuary have reinitiated the holy blessing marriage, returning to True Father's authority. Since many couples were blessed since September 2012, they need to participate in this blessing by the end of 2015 to return to God's authority, to True Father's authority. And also, all of us, that would include me and my wife, have a need to participate in this blessing too, because we all participated in the blessing ceremony or re-blessing ceremony on Foundation Day in February of 2012. So we also need to participate in this blessing again. So it's critical that all who have previously received the blessing, as I said, after September 2012, plus all those participating in Foundation Day, receive the blessing to return to True Father's authority. And we're going to be offering that here in Washington, D.C. at the services we're having. The next one is on July 12th. And also, that's at the Emergence Community Arts Collective here in Washington, D.C. We'll be gathering. And on Sunday, July 12th in the afternoon, 2:30 p.m. And also those are offered at World Peace Campaign Sanctuary and will be offered in many other locations. So I'm going to talk more about this topic in a video blog very soon. I thank you for listening tonight. And again, I want to ask you to please prayerfully consider whose spiritual covering are you under. This is Rich Urban from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And I will see you next time.